got something to drink? I don't think this is going to be a long one today, at least not as long as the past couple, because I'm like caught up. I have a nice breeze coming in here, so my hair will be fluttering in the breeze. Hello everybody, this is Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new. This is about cross stitch. It also, once I get my stuff, it's going to be about knitting too. I have such an urge to knit. I don't have any of my stuff here, of course, and I refuse to buy more because I do have so much stuff. But this is the time of year when a lot of the knitwear designers do mystery knit-alongs, and I love mystery knit-alongs. I've done every one of Stephen West's. His is starting, I don't know whether it's the first week of October or the second week, and I probably won't get my stuff till the end of October, but I really want to do his. Casapinka has, there's so many, so yeah, you will start to see some knitting once my stuff gets here. But for the most part, we do cross stitch here. So I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you'll ask me any questions that you might have. I do love to teach and share. Things are going well here. Mike is back at work this week. So yay, my days are my own for a while. He will probably be going back full time in October. So he'll be gone every day. It'll make me appreciate him more, right? No, not that I don't appreciate him. Lord knows that did not come out right at all. I love that man. But it is good to have some space, especially, like I've said before, in a small space like this. This has been a kind of a tough week. Hard to keep my spirits up. Thank heavens for stitching. And I did pull out what I kind of consider one of my peace projects, meaning that I get a lot of peace and calm and comfort from it. So I'll be showing you that in a minute. But yeah, pretty uneventful weekend and week. Kind of gray and rainy here the past few days, which is fine. It's kept the temperatures down. Like I said, I have the windows open and I have a nice breeze coming in, so that feels good. No squirrels yet. I'll keep you posted if I see a squirrel. Let's see. On to stitching. Notes from last week to catch up on. How do you pronounce that word? V-O-I-L-E. So many of you are so helpful. Several of you said voile, but a couple of you said voile, and I think that's the correct pronunciation for a French word. Voile. Do I sound French? I love you guys. You're so helpful to me. Let's see. So there was that. That was the big, interesting, funny thing to me, I think. I had a chance to watch more Flosstube this week as I've been doing my work stitching, which is stitching on my 3D piece, and I will show you what I've been working on, what the next piece of that looks like. Was able to catch up a little bit with Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher, Lori, Mischievous Stitches, Valerie Stitching in the Barn, and all of those are old-time favorites. Oh, that's just a bird, not a squirrel. But I did find somebody not new to the stitching world by any means, but relatively new on Flosstube, and I know you've heard of her, about her from several other videos, and that is Jean Farish. Jean Farish has been a designer and a teacher in the cross-stitch world for years and years, and so I just love that she's doing videos now. I've only watched like 1.5, but her style, I mean, her knowledge that she's sharing, she's teaching specialty stitches, she's talking about flosses. It's just right up my alley. So I will be linking her below so you can check that out. Many of you mentioned in my comments last week that because I'm offering some toxic, and I will announce the winners at the end of the video. some toxic silk floss from Mrs. Sedas, S-E-D-A-S. I try not to get too toxic on my videos. I think I do a good job of that. But a lot of you mentioned that you had never worked with silk and that you would love to win it because it would give you that opportunity. I talked to Raquel and I said, Raquel is the owner and dyer for Mrs. Sedas, that maybe it would be a good idea to offer kind of a beginner's silk pack. And so she agreed, and she's getting that together. It's not on her website yet, but it will be in conjunction with my free pattern, Be Well, that I created back at the beginning of the pandemic. That is something that you can download for free from my website, and I will link that below. It's a very simple pattern, just a little bit of a border and some flowers and the words Be Well. There are 6 colors, and so I sent the color conversion for that to Raquel, so she will be working on getting that up on her website, hopefully in the not too distant future, but I will let you know when that is available. And I think, again, it's 6, so it's not like it's going to be just a little bit of floss. It's going to be mini skeins. It's not like it's going to be just a little bit of floss, that it's, you know, the floss is going to be free, but it will be a more inexpensive way, I think, to get started on working with silk and the joys of Raquel's silks. So, like I said, I'll announce that when that's available. As far as I know, she has not gotten the toxic back on her website yet. Hopefully that will be happening soon as well. And again, as soon as I know, I will let you know. So I think that's all the announcements kind of things. I do not have a finish this week. Although I have been thinking about getting out my sewing machine. I still haven't gotten that spool of thread. Maybe this weekend. Lynette did mention, I think I did mention this maybe last week or the week before, that I could always use my second bobbin and put that on the spool holder. So I may do that. I do want to get out my machine and finish a couple things. But then, you know, guys, if I only had a brain, and OMG, in more than one ways, I usually fill my pillows, you know, my smalls, with fiber fill, and then I do have some walnut seeds, so I kind of put some fiber fill around the outside and then pour some walnut seeds in the middle to kind of give it some weight and body. I don't have any of that with me. I could sew up the pillows, but I can't stuff them with anything. And I have one of those bags of fiber fill, you know, the big, not a huge bag, but still a pretty big bag. I'm not going to go and buy more. So yeah, I could sew it, but I can't stuff it. Oh my God. I'll get there. I'm so glad you guys like me, because sometimes well, obviously I just shake my head at myself, right? Oh my God. All right, stitching. So I don't have any finishes this week. Do have lots of stuff to show you though. So the Prim Stitch series by Fat Quarter Shop. This is number 3. This is called Peace and Plenty. This is what that will look like. So my angel is pretty much finished. I just have to put the little French knot eyes on, and that is the same color that is used in the border, and it looks like it's used down here in the flower pot. So I'll put those in when I start working with that color. But my angel's pretty much done. I have the cherries hanging from her hand done, and the flowers started. So that is this month's piece. The next one doesn't come until October 5th, so I have a few weeks yet to get that finished and get the border around it finished. Speaking of Fat Quarter Shop, they sent me an email yesterday to join in on their 2021 charity stitch along. If you remember, Bloomtopia was last year's. This year's, so much has happened this year. This year's charity stitch along, And they have in conjunction, I think this was the first year they actually did a stitch along. They've been doing a quilt along for quite a few years. Their charity is the South and Central Texas Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so they ask that they will, if you sign up, which you can do on their website, and I'm not sure whether everything is set up yet for customers. Right now they're kind of getting everything ready to go for it. It doesn't start until February 1st. I think February through July, so 6 portions, 6 sections for the stitch along. I don't know whether it's the same for the quilt along. But they ask you, they will provide you the pattern for free, but they ask you to do a donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation here in Central and South Texas of at least $15. So last year they raised over $90,000, which is just amazing. I believe they said that was enough to grant the wish of 9 children. So I think that's just amazing. So anyways, they're starting to gear up for 2021. It is called Serendipity. It's a quilt that is a navy blue background with blues and pale yellows and grays, flowers on it and different motifs. It is gorgeous. I loved Bloomtopia. I'm gonna love this one even more. So I will be participating again this year. Their fabric is it's an Ada. I don't know what count they're calling for. I won't be using that. I will be finding my own navy blue fabric to use on it. So my hair is just a mess. It's so long. I really need to get to a barber. So yeah, that is something that I'm looking forward to. I will let you know when all that's available. I believe some of it's available on their website. They have a project bag. They have an enamel pin. They have the floss packs. I think when you look at them, they say notify me when in stock. So you could go and look and see what it looks like. And then if you want to have a reminder, you can do that, notify me when it's in stock, and put your email address in and they'll email you to let you know. So there is that coming up. But let's see, that goes over there. This can go here. So I continued to work on the Star Center quilt by Jeanette Douglas. As I mentioned last week, I did put the year 2020 on it, so I am locked into finishing it this year. I looked for my, you know, the package, the pattern package with the picture. That's a lot of P's on it. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. Anyways, if you remember, there are borders. She's calling these 3 different borders, and then a big blue star in the middle. So I have the upper portion of this border, the outer border done. I have the upper portion of the second border done. You can see I am going to, when I work on this tonight, I will take the plastic off, the clips off, and roll this down a little bit so I can work further down more easily. But yeah, I'm loving this. This is all in silks, different company silks, Gloriana, Thread Gatherer, Belle Soie from Classic Colorworks. So yeah, this is a gorgeous piece. The fabric that I'm using is a 36 count mystery linen from Vicki Clayton, and I absolutely adore it on this fabric. This isn't the most peaceful thing to stitch, even though these are called Milanese stitches. All of the different specialty stitches are a different variation of Milanese stitch, and while they aren't hard to do, I do find I have to be careful that I'm going down in the right hole so that everything lines up correctly. There's a few times that I didn't, and a few times that I said, I don't care. For the most part, I fixed it, but there were a few times that I said, I don't care. So yeah, loving that. put this somewhere out of the way where I won't kick it and cats won't sit on it, because that's a thing. So the one that I got out that is my piece stitching is Beachcomber by Carolyn Manning. So this is one of her Shining Star series. As you can see, all blues and browns and creams, my kind of colors. I am working this on a 28, I don't remember. It's an even weave. It's either 28 or 30 or 25. It's probably 28. This might be a Murano. I don't remember. It was something in my stash. Or actually, maybe this is one of the Fat Quarter Shop, the Lori Holt's 25 counts. I think it is a 25 count, actually. I think it's the, I don't remember what the color name of the driftwood is, but it's the Lori Holt Vintage Lugana. So yeah, this came out last night. All I really worked on, I only worked on it for about an hour and a half, was getting this little star piece done here. This is all DMC. This is 1 thread over 1 linen thread. So I don't know whether that will stay out and play or not, because there's so many other things on my brain. And October is going to be starting soon, and there's other things that are starting in October. So, and I also had a new start because Toxic, because my new design, because my brain wouldn't stop thinking of it. So this is the new design that I showed you last week. This is Filigree and Rose, and I did have every intention of stitching this in Mrs. Sadis's just one color, 05. It is a kind of a light red, not a real intense red, just a pretty light red that I thought, you know, Filigree and Rose, how pretty. And then Toxic happened. And a couple days after my video last week, I spent the time splitting that big skein into the smaller skeins. So each of one of these lengths is about 15 inches. And so I separated it into the reds and the greens. And then there is a section where you have some red and some green. It's the red gold melting into the greens. And I just thought, you know, let me see what that looks like stitched up. And what better thing is there to play with new silk than my new design? And I love how this is coming out in this silk. Not at all what I had in mind when I designed it, but that's okay. This is some more of the Vicki Clayton bleached 40 count linen. This is the part of the part that was left over. I cut off a big chunk from my Baroque sampler, and this is some that was left from that. The Baroque sampler, by the way, I was planning on starting this month, but I'm still waiting for the silks that I ordered from Thread Pickers. It finally did ship. I think Monday I got the email. I think I mentioned her son and her husband both had gotten sick, and she was afraid that it was COVID. So she was waiting to mail anything until they were clear. So yeah, it got mailed Monday. We'll see how long it is coming from the UK. So we'll see how long it takes to get here, what the mailing system is like these days. But anyway, love it. I don't think there was anything else I was going to say about that. All right. The other thing I played with, something else I mentioned last week, was I showed you the, last week. I showed you the fabric pack, the texture pack that I got from Fiber on a Whim. And I had showed you this linen. Oh my God, and it's covered with fur. Surprise, surprise. I showed you this linen and I think that would be really cool for the pumpkins for sale design. So I decided to give it a try, I think that afternoon. I did measure the threads, and this is a long shot from being an even weave. It is, I don't really remember it. I think it's somewhere around 32 or 33 by 60. I mean, no, I think it was 44 by 60-ish, somewhere around in there. So very much, definitely not an even weave. I'm gonna give it a go. Even though it will look stretched funny in one of the directions, I think because this is more of a rustic piece, I'm not gonna worry about it a whole lot. We'll see once I get stitching, I may change my mind. But I just think this fabric color is so perfect. I did do a little bit of stitching. This is just with DMC, I think I used. So it's perfectly capable of being stitched on. They are tiny little stitches. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a whirl. Now I am going to change out the pumpkins to a white, teal, aqua. I'm not sure what color yet. I have to look through my flosses. I haven't picked my flosses yet. They definitely aren't going to be orange though. And I think I'm also not going to do the scarecrow. The scarecrow doesn't thrill me. So I will probably just put either one or two of the sunflowers, more of the sunflowers in here. And I'm gonna put the crow down on one of the sunflowers. So yeah. One of you asked me actually in my comments a couple weeks ago how I felt about stitchers changing up patterns. Since I'm a designer, does it irritate me? You know, she knows that I change up colors a lot, but is it okay to go as far as changing motifs on a pattern? And I said go for it. You know, you own that pattern once you buy it. You can do whatever you want with it. You know, we're always encouraged to take little motifs and create smalls, you know, create something different other than the designer's original intent. So why not just remove something from a pattern? Never feel like this is gospel. That's my opinion. Other designers may have different opinions, but once you own it, you can do what you want with it, except, you know, sell it. I think we know that, right? So anyways, I am going to take out the scarecrow. We'll see. We'll see how it works. I think it'll be good. Okay. Tips and tricks. Let's go to tips and tricks. I am going to insert another video in here that I filmed a week or so ago. So I'm going to go to that right now. So after my Flosstube 111, there were several of you that mentioned this way of stitching that I guess Vonna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, had highlighted in one of her videos. And it is the method of two-handed stitching where you go down with the point of the needle but come back up with the eye of the needle. So when you're going down underneath, you do not turn your needle around to come back up. You just poke that eye of the needle right back up through the fabric. And so this speeds up your stitching a little bit as you're stitching. I thought I would give it a try. Now, I did try it a number of years ago. I first heard about this method by a woman who I believe her name was Portia Parker. She was active in the Heaven and Earth Designs group, and she talked about using this method on her HAIDs, on her full coverage projects. I have not seen, if that's the correct name, and I think it is, I haven't seen a post from her in a while. But that's, after she mentioned that, I gave it a try, and I found that my floss was getting shredded a lot more by the eye doing that method. Now, I haven't the faintest idea what needle I was using at the time, but I assumed the needle was probably a poorer quality and had a lot to do with that. But I stopped doing it because yeah, it was shredding my floss. This needle that I'm using is a Bowen. I actually started doing this last night when I was working on my Star Center quilt piece. So that is silk. I was also using the same type of needle, a Bowen, on that. And yeah, I was pleased with it. Now that I'm using 1 strand of thread, on this I'm using 2, and I wanted to give this a try to see if my stitches would lay as neatly. Now, as they do, so let me back up a second here. A lot of people like this as an alternative to the sewing method because it does speed up your stitching a bit. You know, if you like stitching on a frame, or you just can't get the tension right with the sewing method, this provides a good alternative. But I wanted to see with 2 strands if my stitches lay as neatly as they do, and I'm finding that they don't. Now, a lot of that could just be, you know, getting used to it, technique, all that. But I'm not nearly... I'm doing the same thing that I do with the sewing method, and I do mention this. I have 2 sewing method tutorials out there that I pay attention to the twist that's happening with my floss. You can see it's coming out, kind of laying flat here, coming out of the hole, and then starts to twist to the right. So before I put my needle back down in, I kind of scoot the floss up here, so it's already, you can see, it's already laying parallel before I go back down into the hole. And that certainly helps. Now let's see if it stays that way. It should, because essentially the sewing method would do the same thing. Let's see it in a little bit of a twist in there that I don't like. It's not bad. It's just not as smooth as I'm used to seeing. So yeah, this is definitely faster. It is two-handed. I do two-handed stitching with, this is actually working on my fabric that's my Farewell to Anger. I do two-handed stitching all the time when I'm working on anything on the frame, on any type of frame. So I'm used to, and my left hand is the one, my dominant hand is on the top. So that's my right hand, my left hand is underneath. So I'm used to, and I'm comfortable with, see, now I'm getting this all tangled up and it's making me mad. I'm used to finding the holes with my left hand. But with this method, you're not going too far away. You're still going farther away than you would with the sewing method, because the needle never leaves the fabric with the sewing method, which is one of the reasons why it's so fast. But with this, you are still leaving the fabric a little bit, so you still have a little bit of a search going on, but not too bad. So anyways, I hope you found this a little useful. For those that may have read the comments and was wondering, oh, what does that look like, or have heard of this mentioned in the past, it is an alternative to help speed up your stitching. So yeah, I hope you found this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will do what I can to help. Okay, one thing I wanted to add that I noticed as I continued to work on my Star Center quilt doing that kind of stitching, because it is on the frame, I have it loose enough on the frame that I can do the sewing method, and I do that quite a bit. Of course, I can't do that with the Milanese stitches, but I did find that there were enough times when I was bringing the eye of the needle back up through that I pierced the silk and really kind of hurt the integrity of the twist. So it kind of fuzzed it out, basically. I had to be very careful doing that I had pulled the silk out of the way so that when the eye, and kind of put the needle at an angle so that when the eye came back up through, the silk was out of the way. I'm not doing that method anymore. If the idea of it is to speed up my stitching, it didn't, having to worry about that and having to deal with that. So your mileage may totally vary. I totally encourage you to give it a try. And then, you know, see, you may not have any problems with it, but just keep those, keep those few things in mind. Okay. The continuing saga of floss storage. I know, you're laughing at me. So I thought long and hard about the CD cases and the binders and how much space that's going to take. You know, you guys continue to give me great suggestions, but unless you have lived in this kind of setup, you don't really have a feel for just how little space there is. There isn't counter space to set things out on that isn't already taken up by necessary items like the coffee pot. You know, there just isn't that kind of space. I have some counter space like on our entertainment center, but it's in front of doors that have to be opened, so it's not really viable. There's certainly space on the dashboard that I could put stuff, but that's where the cats lay. So, you know, it's hard to understand. So again, I know Lynette's like, just bobbinate. I'm not gonna bobbinate. I don't like it. It's a waste of time. I don't like what it does to the floss. I know it's the most compact method. I'm not gonna do it. So I decided that the CD cases weren't working for me. I am keeping the smaller ones because I do think they'll work well for smaller projects and for smaller amounts of thread, of floss. That big binder, this is another advantage to getting stuff from Amazon. It's just going to be returned. No muss, no fuss. Now, Carolyn Zook, Zook Stitch, did mention on my video last week that when I mentioned suitcases, it made her think of travel cubes. Now, I have never really come across them. It's just not something I've ever seen or really heard of. So Amazon went and started searching, started thinking, did some more searching, did some more contemplating, imagining in my mind, and I found these. These are called Eagle Creek travel packs. They come in 3 to a pack. They are very lightweight. They are a great size, not very big, but pretty darn wide. I have all of my Mrs. Sadis's flosses, silk flosses in here, her entire line. They stack nicely. The only downside is that they are floppy. So I do need to put some kind of stabilizing something in the bottom. I have a kind of a smaller piece just to check it out and see how it works. Piece of cardboard in the bottom of this. Maria Kutzner suggested foam cord. I have my floss hanging on foam cord boards right now. Those will get cut up and be perfect to be in the bottom of these. So, let me hopefully do this without spilling everything. Mrs. Sadis's silk floss, the entire set. There's a few missing. There's probably a few somewhere in the stuff that's coming. But, I mean, this is pretty much all of them, including the new colors that I just got. So that is, let's say, round it off and say that's about 80 skeins in here. I'm rounding it off, lowering it a little bit more for my DMC because some of those bags are packed so fully with multiple skeins of flosses. So I'm figuring I can get 60 to 70 of my thread tucks bags in these things. They are the perfect length for my thread tucks bags. And that's the other advantage. I don't have to worry about, because one of the things that really made me hesitate about the CD cases is taking all of my floss out of the thread tucks bags. And the thought of throwing them all away just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I hate throwing that kind of stuff away. Not only the frugal part of me, but the environmentalist part of me. So it'll allow me to keep my thread tucks bags. I should be able to get all of the DMC in 9 of those and then stack them in a bin and store them in the basement of the rig. So I'm happy with that. I think that will be my final go-to. Like I said, it was a 3-pack. So I have 2 other ones that I have started to store my overdyed flosses in. I have all of my overdyeds in those 2 except the reds, pinks, and the neutrals. And all of those will probably fit in 1 more. So, yeah, I think I've found my solution. Yay. All right. Stuff I got. That's my fancy name for this section. Stuff I got. Guys, well, first let me start with one thing and then I'll move on to other things. Oh my God. First of all, Teresa Boyer found more of the bouquets for me. So March and July, and I had mentioned I was getting a second July, so I will be giving this one away. I don't think I'm going to do it in this video. I think it'll be in the next video, so stay tuned. But March is my birth month, and July is Mike's. So that's clematis on this. I'm not sure what these flowers are. Violets and I don't know what the pink flowers are. Does anybody know what those are? I'm pretty good with flowers, but that one doesn't strike any chords. So that is from Teresa. Thank you. I'm going to probably, it's getting hot. It's humid. I am going to, I think, stop there and with getting these. Although one of you did say that the Tinsmith's Wife out in Comfort does have some, so maybe I'll pick up a couple more. But I think I have enough of those for now. Thank you, Teresa. And thank you also to Michelle Gabriel, Maine Moose Mom Stitcher. She always comes through for me in a pinch. She sent me some Aida. I had mentioned last week about the video I want to do comparing the black flosses, but I don't have any Aida to do the coverage test on. And so she sent me, she said, I have a bunch of 14 count Aida. Let me send it to you. So she did. Thank you. Michelle, you are so amazing as well. Thank you, girlfriend. That helped me out a bunch. All right. Fat Quarter Shop did send me some more goodies. So this that I showed you, the Peace and Plenty #3 of the Prim Stitch series, is from them. I get these PDF as well, and that's what I use. That's what I stitch from. So this is a giveaway, and then they did send me this, a second one of these, as a giveaway. So that will be for this video. Let's do that right now. All right, so if you would like this one, tell me whether you would leave the scarecrow or not. Say scarecrow somewhere in your comment. I'd like to know what you think about me taking out the scarecrow. So tell me about that. And if you want the Prim Stitch series, just once again, tell me I like Prim. Okay, so that will be for next week. to be given away. I'll announce the winner next week. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, don't say winner, don't say giveaway, don't say contest, don't say free. You know the drill. Okay, the rest of this stuff is purchases. I had mentioned, I think I'd mentioned last week that I was going to get this from Fat Quarter Shop. This is called their multitasking thread pack. It is from Aurifil. And what it is a selection of their different weights. Oh, I just realized I have a spool of thread now. Oh my God. Do I make you laugh? I hope so, because I crack myself up. I tell Mike that all the time. I'll say something that I think is funny, and I'll slap my knee and I'll say, I crack myself up. I hope I crack you up too. Anyways, this is a selection of the different Aurifil flosses. So I will be playing with these in a separate video. Not only to talk about coverage, but things like, you know, when you're stitching over one and you have back stitch, it doesn't look good to also do the back stitch in the same thread that you've done the stitches. It's not thin enough, right? So will one of their thinner weights work for that? I'm going to do a comparison of their 12 weight and the Sulky 12 weight. You know, just things like that. I've already talked about the Aurifil cotton floss, and there is one of those in here. So this contains 3 spools of their 50 weight. And I also, I still have to get some 56 count fabric, but I also want to try stitching on that with some of their thinner weight, like the 50 weight or the 40 weight. So there is 3 spools of the 50 weight, 2 spools of the 40 weight, 1 of the 12 weight, 2 of the 80 weight, and 2 of the cotton embroidery floss. So I think that's a really cool way to try out their different flosses and see what works for different things. So stay tuned for that. Again, that's the multitasking set. You don't get a choice of colors or anything, and I don't know whether all of them contain the same colors. So there is that. My different blacks did come, so I ordered some of these from 123 Stitch and some from Fat Quarter Shop. 123 Stitch does carry the Cosmo thread. Now, one of the things that I found interesting when watching Jean Farish's, I think, latest video is that she loves Cosmo floss. She likes this better than she likes DMC, and she said why. I found it very interesting, so I am very interested in stitching with this and see what I think of it. I don't envision switching over to this floss, but she highly recommends this over DMC. So I got that from Fat Quarter Shop, and I got the Aurifil black from Fat Quarter Shop. And then from 123 Stitch, I got the Sullivan's black, I got the Sulky black, and I already have, of course, the DMC and the Anchor black. So that's what I will be comparing for coverage and for stitchability in a future video. And I will be using both the 14 count Aida, probably that, even weave, and linen, and using 2 strands and 1 strand. And what I'll probably do is have all of those samples already stitched, because it's not, I mean, to a certain degree it'll be how it stitches, but I don't think you'll gain anything from watching me do it as much as you hearing my experience about it. At least that's what I'm hoping. Tell me if you think different. I am open to all suggestions. I also got from 123 Stitch the, this is the Treasure Braid PB02. It's the Petite Braid. So this is for the Country Cottage Glitter Cottage. Remember, I just had the gold metallic to finish on that. It calls for a Vera Soie metallic thread. I could swear I saw that on 123 Stitch. In fact, I'm pretty sure I put it in my cart. But when I went back to actually buy it, it wasn't on the site. So I don't know. I must have dreamed it. But anyways, I got this. Hopefully it'll work. I'm doing that on 40 count fabric, so I needed something pretty petite. We'll see. I will have that finished by next week. All right, guys. Because no thread can travel along, I also got this Flea Market Souvenir by Blackbirds. This is a re-release of theirs. And the thing that I love about this, besides just the design itself, is that it is 3 different pieces of fabric sewn together, stitched together with a variety of specialty stitches. So, the thing I want to say about this, and that I started to talk about how much I need you guys. I also put an order in with Misty at Luminous Fiber Arts. I have been wanting to play with her fabric for a while, and I never seemed to get there in time. I did this time. This is her 36 count indigo. Beautiful piece. Beautiful, beautiful. I think it's a little bit too light for Serendipity, and I don't know that it's the right size either. It's probably plenty of fabric, actually. It may work, but I don't think it's dark enough, because they do call for navy blue. Again, you can't have something travel alone. So I bought this. Doesn't that look familiar? Now, my only excuse is that I had ordered this from 123 Stitch and the order hadn't come yet. And so I forgot I had ordered it. I don't know whether to try and sell this on Stash Unload or just give it away. I'm just, you know, I just kick myself. It's like I throw money away. I also got from Misty, though, this Threadwork Primitives Merry Christmas Little Fruit Bowl. That is so pretty, isn't it? Just gorgeous. I will probably use Mrs. Sadis's silks on this. So pretty. But yeah, I obviously need you guys to just like go shopping with me. Anytime I go to an online store, who wants to volunteer to be my personal assistant? Jan, you got that already. I did? Anyways, that's today's stuff. Oh, God. All right. That's all I have for you, except to announce the winners. Now, here's what we got. So, Toxic. So many of you wanted to get some Toxic. I hope she gets it up on the website soon. I know she was away over the weekend, so she's probably catching up on stuff. So like I said, I took that big skein and separated it into 4 smaller ones of each colored section, right? So we have 4 of the reds, and I'm keeping 1 of each of these, so that's why you're only seeing 3. So the reds, the greens, and the mixtures of the reds and greens. And of course, all of these have gold in them too, and there's some speckles of brown where the colors mixed. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous to stitch with, as I showed you on my Filigree in Not Rose. So the winners will be getting 1 of each of these, and there's 3 of you. Joyce Restiano, so you will be getting this, this, and this. Catherine Rogers, so that is your set. And Jennifer Wolf, so that is your set. Awesome, right? I hope you love this stuff as much as I do. I mean, I cannot get enough of her silk. I know there's other silk companies out there that do a brilliant job, and I love stitching with all silks, but hers, you know, and it's not, for Raquel's silk, it's not just a tactile experience, It's a, what's the word for nose? For the smell. Oral sound. Oh, you know what I mean. The smell of this floss, and it doesn't go away. Now, maybe if it would if I kept it stored like on the thread drops so that it was out in the air, but maybe because I have it in the thread tucks, it holds the scent in more. It is a wonderful smell experience as well. I love it. I love it. I hope you do too. Look how pretty it is, even on this blue. Stitch all the things. All right, guys, that is all for today, except I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Dare to dream, think big, make goals, take action, work hard, believe in yourself, and trust God. How are you feeling about all of those? That's a lot, and it seems like a lot these days, doesn't it? Make goals, but if you can't do anything, how do you get the goals done? Dare to dream. Let me tell you about daring to dream. 2 things. Now, guys, if you are just here for the stitching, I'm pretty much done with stitching talk. This is going to be more personal talk. I have some things I want to share with you. I don't usually share the whole, greatest new thing, but I do have something I want to share with you today. It's a couple different things. Dare to dream, think big, make goals, take action. I want to tell you, my son Ben, the one who's doing this artwork, is the epitome of these things right now. I am so proud of that kid. So as you know, he has started to do this kind of artwork, and he's doing a phenomenal job finding his voice, and I am so proud of him. But he's also getting these opportunities to do these live performances of creating this art. He did one in Sarasota, Florida. It was called the Army Art, not the Army Art Show, but something where you have artists performing their art. He got rained out there a little bit, but he had some great success, created some gorgeous canvases there. And he did another one, I believe it was last night, at a, he's very into the whole electronic music scene, where they do have the different festivals. Of course, they haven't been having festivals, but they did have something last night in Orlando. I don't even want to know how many people were there. I'm sure it wasn't socially distanced or masked. He's had COVID. He came through it okay. I pray to God he stays healthy. But it's, he has his whole setup, and he's creating the art. So you get to watch him add the paint, and it spins, and see, this happen in real life. I am just so proud of him for taking these steps, getting out there. He's building his own canvases. So proud of that kid. So that's one of the make goals, dream big, take action, work hard, believe in yourself. Ben is the epitome of that right now. But I also wanted to talk to you about a YouTube channel that Mike and I found. And it has kind of been our saving grace this weekend, because this was a very down weekend for a lot of us. And I know you know why. This is a couple, a French woman and an Aussie man. Their YouTube channel is called Grizzly and Bear Overland. And I will link all this stuff below. So you know that Mike and I are huge into traveling. Of course, we live in an RV, right? This is our home. This is our happy place. Eventually, we want to get a trailer for the Jeep so we can go even more off-road and into places where a lot of people can't go, and just have more of a close to the earth experience, I guess I would say. So we're very interested in watching YouTube channels that do this. Some of them are better than others. This one is spectacular. So this couple, they're in their mid-30s. Their thing that they love to do, and it's kind of their focal point as they go to different places, is rock climbing. So I'm not of course, huge into that. It's interesting to see them do it and talk about it. They are very good at it. They are in fantastic shape. But they show where they're going as they're going. They have a drone. They have wonderful footage. They have wonderful music. Their production is really well done. But the footage they get of the places they travel is phenomenal. So they went from France through Germany straight into Eastern Europe, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia. They went down into Albania and into Turkey, through Turkey and then up through all the stands. They went down into and traveled through the Wakhan Valley in Afghanistan, in and out. Got a transit visa to go through part of Russia, down into Mongolia, through Mongolia, back up into Russia to get down to Vladivostok, where they caught a ferry over to South Korea. They are in where we are in their videos, which is about a year ago. They are in South Korea. And the thing that's really special about them is not only seeing these places that we will probably never get to see, but they are having the experiences of, I mean, it really has renewed my faith in humans, because every place they go, the hospitality of the local people, they don't share the language. They don't know all these different languages, but they get past that and they share their homes, their families, their experiences. People are helping them when they're down, when they have problems with their vehicle. I mean, it's just amazing to see the outreach of just ordinary people for total strangers. And these two are very open to all of those experiences. And I am blown away. I am happy with every video. There is a joy there that Lord knows we need right now. Like I said, if you want to see places that you will probably never experience yourself, gorgeous. Just, this world is an amazing place. This is why Mike and I want to travel. There is so much to see and experience. I don't think I could be nearly as outgoing as they are, just because my personality is not that way. A lot of the food I couldn't experience. I have gluten intolerance, and I look at some of that food and say, oh my God, it looks so good, but what would it do to me? You know? But if you think you'd like to experience cultures that you will probably never get to experience in a very real way, I highly recommend their channel. Like I said, Grizzly and Bear Overland. I will link it below. All right, guys, I'm going to sign out now. You bring me joy. You bring me laughter. You bring me sanity. You help keep me in line, maybe a little bit. You laugh at me when I get out of line, and that has to count for something, right? I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.